Welcome back to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life, the podcast. You're listening to Author's Corner, where we highlight and showcase our local authors. Today, I'm speaking to Clement Decrop, author of Idea Space. And Clement and I are going to be talking today on the topic Transforming the Mind, Idea Space, a New Approach to Consciousness. Welcome, Clement.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, yes, thank you. And I was saying to Clement before we started recording, this is new content for the show. I love new content. So let's find out what Idea Space is. But before we do that, let me just give you a brief introduction. Clement Decrop is a Belgian-born inventor and author of the book, The Idea Space, The Science of Awakening Your Non-Self. His book delves into the depths of consciousness by introducing a revolutionary solution to Einstein field equation to describe the mind. Decrop guides readers to view their thoughts objectively and identify their impact, helping the reader discover a happier existence and a deeper understanding of their life purpose. Clement has shared his wisdom to thousands of eager participants across 40 countries. His innovative spirit led him to collaborate with numerous inventors from Wikipedia's most prolific inventor list, resulting in 130 plus patent disclosures within 1 year, 50 plus field or filed, and 20 plus issued as late as 2023. He's currently building a long-term Gen AI meditation teacher application. Wow, you're a busy little bee, aren't you?
Trying my best to be while also having fun and relaxing on the side. A little bit of everything.
Did I like it? Yes, yes, an inventor. Yes, when you're an inventor, you must invent, right?
Yes,
So that's
there's like a
amazing.
good
Yes,
Alan
that's
Key quote where it's like, it's easier to invent the future than to predict it. So that's
yes.
been a good inspiration for that.
Okay, pretty good. Awesome. All right. So as we dive in, what exactly is an idea space, and how does it change how we think about consciousness?
Yeah, great starting point. I
I know,
think,
right? Let's get to
yeah.
it.
So the idea space, like you said in the introduction, is a new mental model for the mind. I think a lot of times when we think about the mind, we think at it of it from like a biological standpoint, or even from like more of like psychological standpoint, right? And so the whole idea was, okay, I'm a bit of a nerd, and I like to read my textbooks for fun, and so kind of have a math background and scientific background. And I thought, what if we applied the principles of mathematics to the mind? What would that look like, right? What would be in the mind? What would those groups be? What would be the properties? And so that was kind of like the genesis for the idea space, and in turn, it creates a new way of looking at the mind through the field of physics, which is unique because up to this point, physics has been very more about things that we can measure, right? Like stars, planets, gravity, right? All that fun stuff. And so to be able to describe the mind using physics allows us to just talk about it in a much more objective way, which eventually will lead to being able to view our thoughts objectively and the same way you would look at a computer or a star, and so that you can make the best decision for yourself and really just free yourself from the nagging mind, which I know I experience sometimes, just all the fun thoughts that just drive around.
Well, I'm gonna throw something at you. It's gonna be out in left field. But as you were talking, I remember one of the people that I follow, Deepak Chopra, saying that they don't know where the mind is. So how are you having this mathematical model of the mind? Where is it?
Oh man, that's a great question too. Oh, first of all, Deepak Chopra is the man. So yeah, very cool. So I think with the mind, one of the main properties of the idea space, right? So your idea space consists of your thoughts, emotions, sensations, perceptions, and the empty set. And the empty set is intuitively nothing, the absence of anything. And your idea space has two key properties. It has zero measure and uncountable. And the zero measure kind of hits on the where is it? Where so zero measure just means it looks like nothing. So for instance, you can hold something in your hand, like I'm holding a pen, right? You may be holding a phone or something. Clearly, you can see it. Somebody else can see it. Somebody else can feel it. But if you close your eyes and bring to mind a mental image of what it is you're holding, like a pen or a phone, you'll see a mental image in your head. But then, can anybody else see that mental image? No, right? It looks like nothing to everybody else. And so I agree. You can't really locate your mind. It's not in a very particular location, but we are able to describe it in a way where It's hidden from everybody else, but just because it's hidden from everybody else doesn't mean it's not there, right?
Okay, good answer. Awesome. All right. So I just thought I'll throw that curveball at you.
Yeah, I liked it. Baseball season just started today too, so that was perfect.
What was that?
Baseball season just started today too, so
Okay, right.
perfect for left field.
Yeah. I like that. Right. Okay, so you've described idea space as the first solution to Einstein field equation in over 60 years. How did you come up with this discovery, and what does it mean for understanding the mind?
Yep, good question. So Einstein's field equation is describes how kind of like matter deforms space-time. So if you think of a trampoline, you can put a bowling ball in the trampoline and the trampoline will dip, right? And then if you put marbles around the bowling ball, the marbles will gravitate around the bowling ball. And so something similar happens in space-time where the trampoline is space-time and then stars and planets are the marbles in the bowling balls. So you put a star on space-time, the planets are the marbles that rotate around it. And so that's what that equation kind of describes. And so by being able to say your idea space has zero measure, you're basically saying like if you had a flat trampoline and you have an idea, the idea doesn't distort the trampoline, right? It stays flat. So like if I picture a pen in my mind, it's not going to have any sort of gravitational effects. So that's kind of like what that means. But what that means for you or for like other people, because that's like very scientific and high level, is that again, like no one else can see your thoughts, emotions, sensations, and perceptions. And at the end of the day, everybody's perspective of the universe is unique to them, which is something called the sunset conjecture, which we can talk about a little bit more. But creating all this, then it's not like I came into this with like the idea of like, this is what I'm gonna do. Ha! You know? It's one of those things where when I was writing, I wanted to write about things that withstood the test of time. And that started with math, physics, and history. And the silver lining between all of those was this concept of an idea space. And at the very end of it, right, like the very, very end, that's when I knew I was kind of like done with the idea. Was like, how do I fit this idea into what already exists? And being a solution to Einstein field equation was how it was like the puzzle piece trying to like make it work. And so yeah, it was very serendipitous all around.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay. So, how do you explain this concept of the zero measure? We've talked about it a couple of times. How can this help listeners better understand their own thoughts, emotions, and perceptions?
Yes. So the study of physics is all about the science of objects, like we talked about a little bit before, right? Things you can measure, things that like stars, computers, and whatever. And so by saying your idea space has zero measure, we need a new science, right? The science of the first person to study it. And so in the science of objects, it's all about falsifiability. You can never prove something to be true. You can only prove something to be false. For instance, you make a hypothesis. Then you test your hypothesis. Then it's either you confirm that it doesn't match your hypothesis or there's not enough evidence to say otherwise. And if something passes that from a lot of different angles and a lot of different tests, then we say it's a natural law. And so we can apply the same sort of falsifiability principle to the science of the first person or the mind. And thankfully, that's where a lot of different sort of meditation practices like Zen, Stoicism, uh, basic mindfulness comes into play. And the thing that's tricky is because a lot of those practices have a lot of negative connotations to them from just being woo-woo culture and all that fun stuff in the West, at least. And so it kind of pushes people away from exploring those. But at the end of the day, it's the main tool that we have, similar to a ruler or a sensor in the science of objects, to study the mind in the science of the first person. So I think the concept of zero measure tying it all together is it really invites you to explore your mind through meditation practices. So that there's a good quote by a guy named Manindra G, which said, if you want to study your mind, then sit down and observe it. So I think that sums it up pretty nicely.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, observe your thoughts. Yes, understand what are your beliefs are and where they're coming from and all that kind of stuff. So the zero measure is the first person, like me, if I'm studying my mind, I become zero measure. Is that how that is?
Yeah, basically, so like right now you're looking out at your computer, but there's also like your single undivided field of vision, right? It's just one thing, right? So that's kind of where you're seeing everything out of, and nobody else can see through everything you're seeing out of, right? And then into this field, there's also all your thoughts, emotions, sensations, and perceptions. And that's really the foundation of where your idea space lies. And being able to observe that, you and only you are able to do that, right? I can't do that, or you can't do it for me as well. And that's kind of like the beauty of being human. Um, and so, yeah, that's kind of, it's a little tricky. It's a little weird to fully dive in sometimes, but yeah, I hope that kind of helps explain it a little more.
I don't have your mathematical mind. I'm trying to wrap my head around it, but you're obviously very brilliant.
Thank you. No, it's so like in the book, thankfully, there's a lot of pictures. I put a picture on every page because I have an idea of like if a picture is worth 1,000 words, then an idea is worth 1,000 pictures. So
Right, right.
it
Yes. So
helps
that's
kind
how
of
you get
illustrate
people
the
to
points.
understand the stuff by visualizing it and, whatever. I'm trying to wrap my mind around it here. But
It's definitely more abstract than a typical kind of cycle of like psychology conversation, that's for sure.
yeah, yeah. Wow, wow, wow. But yes, I mean, yeah, like you've got this mathematical mind, and I love the fact that you are able to try to bring it to the mind and to bring it to, right, something where all the scientists have gone before. It says, we know it's there. We don't know where it is. People used to think it's in your brain, but it's not there. And yeah, I mean, looking at it from physics, which is pretty good. So, are we entering the quantum field at all in this study?
Oh, that's a important distinction, I feel like. So Einstein, anything that usually does with like Einstein's field equation stays in a concept called general relativity. And then whenever you get to like talking about atoms and things of that nature, you go into the quantum field. And there's like a huge, not debate, but like a conundrum in the physics world right now called quantum gravity, which is like, how do we describe gravity, which is general relativity, using quantum mechanics? And to this day, that's still been a little bit of a conundrum. So while we're mostly in the general relativity mind, I feel like there will come a day that the two get merged. But I think the key point of all of this is like it's all an approximation, right? Like we don't know, like we're trying our best to make measurements. So for instance, the atom started as a dot, then it evolved to like a nucleus with like an electron floating around it, and now it's like a nucleus with an electron cloud, and it's like it's always evolving, right? And that's the beauty of science. And so um, yeah, it'll be interesting in like 30, 40 years to see how kind of this evolves and if it gets disproven, great. Like that means we'll be able to telepathically speak to each other, which I'm game for. That'll be kind of fun.
All right. So I was just wanting to know if that's where it's in, if it's in that realm, but you're saying it's not. Okay. All right. So what are the key benefits of understanding your own idea space, and how can listeners start applying this concept to their daily lives?
Hmm. Yeah, I think the beauty of it all is something we talked a little bit at the beginning is that it allows you to view your thoughts, emotions, sensations, and perceptions objectively. And that's difficult because a lot of times we get really attached to something, right? Like, oh, this guy cut me off, I am mad, or something like that, right? And just being able to take a step back and just viewing it more of like, oh, here's a thought about anger. Let's not hold on to that because that's going to make me upset for the rest of the day and just letting it arise and pass, right? That's kind of the beauty of mindfulness. So I think the key to the idea space is it dispels the usual mysticism associated with mindfulness and allows you to kind of explore that practice a little bit more objectively and rigorously, which is nice. And is that something that you've practiced before, kind of mindfulness or meditation?
Oh yeah, I do that all the time. Yep.
Yeah, I feel like how did you get started into it?
Well, again, Deepak Chopra. I started by listening to Deepak Chopra, then I went on to, all the Indian mystics. I do meditation. The other day I started following Thich Nhat Hanh. I follow Satguru. But yeah, I mean, and then of course my show is called, Transform Your Mind. So I'm into mind. I'm into understanding. I mean, my last interview just before yours is about healing the body with the mind. So I'm in all into the mind. So, but you're taking it, in the technical terms of what we can do with it. And one of the things that I do when you observe the mind, they tell you to look at your thoughts like colored balloons and watch them float away. And that's basically what you're saying. Do not get attached to the thought. And the interview that I just had, the guy was talking about, observe your thoughts, don't engage with them. And that's basically what you're saying. So it's pretty good that we're coming out with all these things about the mind and how we can work with it because it is the most important, according to me, the most important thing that you can do for yourself is to understand your thoughts and understand, where they're coming from and watch them and be conscious of them. So, when you're
Yeah.
talking about consciousness, then that's basically what it is. Become aware, right? So, you're on the edge of, bridging something new. Einstein, I don't understand the relativity and all that stuff. So
Yeah. No, I don't expect you to. I feel like that's like
beyond
for
me,
the
right?
for
But
the people who really want to get into it. But there's definitely some applications for the higher level. And what you were saying reminded me of a good quote by a guy named Blaise Pascal, where he said, "All of humanity's problems arise from a person's inability to sit in a room by themselves."
it's true. It's
It's kind
true.
of true.
Yes, yes, that is very true. I can do another quote where 95% of the time we're unconscious. We don't know what's going on with ourselves. 5% of the time we're conscious. The other times we're just on automatic, right?
Just
Um,
floating through space.
yeah, exactly.
It's kind of fun sometimes to float, but
You
you have to
know,
be
one of
mindful of it.
Yeah, one of Thich Nhat Hanh's, which is the guy that I'm studying right now. I'm reading several of his books and all that. His basic concept is just saying, breathing in, I know that I'm breathing in, breathing out, I know that I'm breathing out. How many of us know that?
Yeah.
Very few.
And it's like surprisingly, it's like something I try to do before bed is just like count my breaths to 20 in and out. And you'd be surprised. It's like such a trivial task, right? I can count to 20. But then when you just get into it, like at 12, you're just like, all right, what was I doing earlier today?
Yeah, I
And you're
know.
like, oh, wait, was I at 13, 14?
I know. I know. Yes, a long, long time ago, I used to count back from 99 to go to sleep. You're right. I counted sheep. I haven't done that in a long time. But the idea is that you fall asleep before you get to one or something. But I see what you're talking
Yep.
about. Yeah, I mean, or you're at 80 and you're thinking, I mean, is it only, yeah, you're right. You can't even concentrate on that. So, it's amazing. So tell us about your book, The Idea Space, The Science of Awakening Your Own Non-Self, right? Why did you write it? And what do you want readers to walk away with after reading?
Hmm. So I wrote it because kind of talked on this a little bit about earlier, where it's like the idea of physics is great. It's fantastic, but it had just to find a sustainable way to describe the mind. And so I thought that was very interesting, and I wanted to kind of tackle that problem. Um, and then just kind of hacked at it bit by bit, and then somehow got to it at the end. Um, and I think the biggest takeaway for readers from the book is so we talked about the concept of idea space, right? And so I think listeners have a general sense of what it is, right? It's your thoughts, emotions, sensations, perceptions, and the empty set. And it has zero measure and it's uncountable. And uncountability just means it's impermanent. It's always changing,
Mhm.
right? One thought comes in, another thought comes out.
Yeah.
Um,
Apparently, we have like
and
60,000 of thoughts a day. So it's a lot. People don't
yeah,
even realize that. Right.
and
Right.
the whole by the end of it, the idea of it's like awakening your non-self, right? And awakening is very similar to falsifiability, where you really want to not know what the world is, but what the world isn't. We just have a lot of like preconceived notions of the world, and it's hard to kind of unlearn everything. And the goal of the book is just to basically answer what is this, right? Like what is our place in the universe? And based on that, how can I achieve the things that I want to? And obviously, I can't answer that for you. You can't answer that for someone, right? It's something that's very internal to them, but we can give people the tools to figure them out for themselves. I think the book does just that and helps kind of inspire people to really see the world for what it is and hopefully make a change in their lives for the better.
Nice. Is it very scientific?
It starts out, yes, I would say it's scientific, but um, it's so there's the different types of books in my mind. You have like morning books, afternoon books, and night books. Definitely not a night book. It will be hard to read at night at the end of a long day, and your brain's like, I just need
I
novels.
can't grasp these concepts, right? Okay.
Yes, but during the morning, if you're feeling ambitious, a nice cup of coffee or some tea, I think anybody can read it. Like my mom read it. She's not scientific at all. She's understood it. So it's there. And then I put out YouTube videos as well to kind of help complement some of the more challenging concepts in there.
That's
So
good.
just trying to make it as easy and digestible for people.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right. So, where can our listeners pick up a copy of your book? And what's your website, social media handles so they can follow you?
Yeah. So everything's all simple. It's theideaspace.io. You can find the book there. There's links to our Instagram, and you can find me on Twitter if you really want at Cream of Decrop. And on the website, we're coming out with that Gen AI meditation app soon, and that's really fun just because it's personalized meditations. So whatever you've been through that day, you just kind of talk about it, and then you just get a personalized meditation on the spot to kind of help you wind down or start your day or literally whatever occasion you want. So it's like a nice little buddy in your pocket.
I like that. I'm going to try that out.
Yeah, give it a
And you
go.
said that's available now or it's coming?
So we're on like testing right now, but if you want access, I'm happy to give it to you so you can play around with it. But hopefully within the next 2, 3 months here, it'll be out live for everyone.
Okay. Well, that's beautiful. I love that. All right. So, ideaspace.io is the website, and everybody can get your. You said you give me the Twitter one. What's Instagram handle?
Yes, Instagram is just at the idea space.
Okay. All
So,
right.
yep.
Okay. Awesome. All right, Clement, good work that you're doing. You've got a brilliant mind. So I'm glad that you are, trying to make a difference in the world as far as the mind space and idea space, things like that. Good luck. Yeah, I mean, it's a great compliment for my listeners that are, I'm always, sharing information about the mind and how we can make it work for us. So, thank you for being on the show and thank you for enlightening us about, some of the things that we can do with the mind and helping us to connect. And yeah, your book is great and personalized AI meditation. I love that. I love that.
Yeah, and
Yes.
thank you for having me on. This was
Yeah,
a
you're
great
very
show
welcome.
and you're doing great things as well, Myrna. So, thank you again for everything.
Yeah, thank you. I don't have a brilliant mind. I just not
I
like
think
you.
you do. Yeah. As long as you're happy, that's my thing. It's like if you're happy, that's smart. That's like all you really need. Everything
Yeah,
else goes
that's
by the
good.
wayside.
Well, listen, good luck in all your inventions. And yeah, when you've got another one, you can come back on the show and talk about it.
Sweet. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it, right? Yes. Okay. All right, guys. Well, listen, thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Author's Corner. We were highlighting and showcasing the book, The Idea Space, The Science of Awakening Your Non-Self. Run out and pick up a copy of it if you'd like to get technical and understand consciousness and your mind and what you can do with it and things like that. That'd be great. Like you said, good studying. It's always good to learn new things and to challenge yourself. This is one of the things that you can do. And if you're into meditation, then look for his new app that's going to help you with personalized meditation. That should be a gem. All right, well, listen, thank you, Clement, for being on the show. Thank you guys for tuning in. And any last words that you have, Clement, before we wrap up?
I'll leave on a Thich Nhat Hanh quote because you're studying him. It's happiness is available. Please help yourself to it.
Nice. I like it. Yes, it is available. All you gotta do is reach out and grab it, right? Help yourself to it.
Exactly.
All right. Well, listen, go grab your happiness. Go grab your mindfulness. And thank you for tuning in. Until next time, namaste.
Namaste.
Yes.